Hello and welcome back to Underdog Investing. So today we're going to talk about Virgin Galactic, and we're going to talk about some of the recent positive news and also some of the long-term potentials of Virgin Galactic. Before I dive right into it, I'll be very grateful if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel to show some support. So firstly, in terms of this Bazinga news, will Virgin Galactic stock reach $50 by 2022? So every week, Bazinga conducts a sentiment survey to find out what traders are most excited about, interested in, or thinking about as they manage and build their personal portfolios. We surveyed a group of 600 investors on whether shares of Virgin Galactic will reach $50 by 2022. About 61% of Bazinga traders believe that Virgin Galactic will reach $50 per share by 2022. So that shows that the investors currently are quite positive generally. As you can have a look at the stock price, you can see that today we're trading at around $25 per share. And that's actually really good news, because if you have a look at the longer term chart, I mean, in the past month, we've been trading between $23 and $26. And the reason why I say it's very positive is because we seem to have set a new baseline. I mean, we haven't had any positive news in the last month or so, especially after the test flight that didn't go quite to plan, and we've managed to stay around the $23 to $26 range, and that shows that we've got some really good support here. So I think that's something that's very positive. And in terms of reaching $50, I do think that is very possible, especially with the short-term catalysts coming up. So being able to achieve the next 3 test flights, the last one of which involves Richard Branson going up into suborbit. I do think that although we probably won't be able to achieve these within Q1 of 2021, which they were hoping to, I do think that it's very possible to achieve this within 2021, whether that's going to be in late 2021 or mid 2021. I do think it's possible, and I think when that happens, the stock can easily reach $50 per share. Okay, so moving on to the next bit of positive news. So FAA clears the path for supersonic flight testing over US soil. So that's actually really good news. If you have a look here, so Virgin Galactic is looking to bring the time savings of Mach 3 travel to a slightly broader passenger market. One of the issues, of course, is that supersonic flight has long been illegal over US soil, but the US government wants to set the regulatory agenda internationally and has instructed the FAA to take a leadership role as the sector develops. Supersonic flight over American soil will be prohibited, but new regulations will streamline the process through which these companies can apply for specific exemptions, clearing away some of the red tape and offering a clear path for flight testing over land. The FAA was clear in its final rule document that the new regulations will not allow supersonic flight in a categorical fashion, each test flight must be approved individually, including an analysis of the environmental impacts on the area over which it will be undertaken. There will be a number of objections to the ruling, chiefly focused on noise pollution, but also questioning the environmental cost. So as you can see, hypersonic travel is something that is still a long way down the line, but this is definitely very good news that the FAA are actually looking to allow testing in US soil. Okay, and as you probably already know, Virgin Galactic is basically has 2 main types of businesses that I like to separate them into. So the first one is the space tourism industry, and then the second one is the hypersonic travel industry. And I do believe that the hypersonic travel industry is the one that's going to really generate a lot of revenue for it. And ARK Invest have actually shown us how that's possible and how they're going to generate large amounts of money potentially from the hypersonic travel industry. And we know that they're working on the Mach 3 aircraft, which is a hypersonic jet. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at the ARK Invest research. Hypersonic flight could evolve into a $270 billion market. So firstly, we can have a look at the graphs. The percent of private flights by distance. So as you can see, most private flights are generally short distance, and the long distance flights cover a smaller amount of private flight. And if you have a look at the percent of flights by time en route, If you have a look on the right hand side of this graph, you can see the hypersonic addressable market. So that basically means any private flight which is 7 hours or longer is something that the hypersonic flight industry can basically take market share from. And you can see that it's a smaller amount, but it's still significant nevertheless. And this is quite an important flowchart. So if we have a look, 4.5 billion passengers flew alone in 2018. And 680 million of these 4.5 billion passengers flew on flights longer than 7 hours. And 2.7 million out of the 680 million passengers flew on private flights over 7 hours. And so this tells us that 2.7 million flights annually is the hypersonic addressable market. Now, if there's potentially 2.7 million hypersonic flights to be targeted, what ARK Invest did is they to come up with 270 billion as a revenue, they tried to work out how much each hypersonic flight could potentially cost. And the way they did that is to work out how much private flyers are actually currently willing to pay to save each hour of travel time. So if you have a look on the left hand side first, you can see that private flyers generally pay around $15,000 to save on average 2 hours of travel time, because they don't have to go through airports, security, etc. So if you're spending $15,000 to save 2 hours, then they're basically willing to spend $7,500 to save each hour of travel time. Now, if we take a hypersonic flight, let's say for example going from New York to Japan, currently it takes about 15 hours, but on a hypersonic flight it could take 2 to 3 hours, and so technically you're saving 13 hours of flight. And if you're willing to pay $7,500 to save 1 hour, then if we take that and bring it over to 13 hours, you're actually paying around $100,000 to save 13 hours. So this is where they came up with around $100,000 ticket. And if we're looking at 2.7 million flights at $100,000 per flight, we're looking at a market of 270 billion in revenue annually. So this is where they came up with that number from. And this is what makes me so bullish in a stock like Virgin Galactic. So let's just go back to the stock price. So as you can see again, the reason why I like a stock like Virgin Galactic is because there's so many positive catalysts in the future. And the way I like to divide it is the positive catalyst is divided between short term and long term. So in the short term, we're looking at space tourism travel, and we're looking at Virgin Galactic being able to achieve the 3 test flights that they set themselves for. And I'm hoping that they can achieve this within 2021, and that could definitely boost the stock up to at least $50. But if we're looking in the long term, and if they're able to achieve things like hypersonic travel and take a good market share, I can't see why a stock like this can't reach 10 times. Currently they're trading at a market cap of around 5.9 billion. And if they are able to take some of the share from the hypersonic travel industry, then definitely I can't see how this stock can't have a market cap of around 50 to 60 billion. And the other thing is hypersonic travel, although it is a long we do have a long way to go in terms of hypersonic travel, I do believe that it is inevitable, because of the amount of time you're saving in terms of travel, there's going to be plenty of wealthy people willing to pay that amount to save so much time, because you're basically saving 80 to 90% of a flight time. So I really can't see why the wealthy people wouldn't be willing to pay that amount of money for these flights. So that's basically it for now. If you enjoyed the video, I'll be grateful if you can like and subscribe, and I'd love to hear your comments down below. And if you found it useful in any way, I'll be grateful if you can share this video. Thank you very much.